Welcome to this Taoist meditation session. The meditations I'm going to be presenting come from Taoism. You might be wondering why I'm talking about all sorts of things before doing the meditation. It is to give you a context and understanding why you're doing it so it can have a much better effect for you. Just sit straight, breathe, let your mind get quiet, go on to the meditation. The topic of where we're going to tonight is that you have to have your mind penetrate your body. Now, most people they think. They don't even usually, except if they've really had a lot of training in contemplation, like a monk in a cloister, they don't really have the experience of having their mind penetrate their mind. And before the Taoists thought that before it was at all wise to try and have the mind penetrate the mind, that you want to have your mind penetrate your body. So many of us live on the surface of life. You can just have an excellent intellect and never actually penetrate life that much. You just can understand how to make things mechanically work because you can remember the way that this symbol connects to this symbol and how to put them together. But when you start talking about what's at the depths of inside of you, about what allows you to resolve your karma, about that which allows you to be, as the old phrase, I forgot the name of the person who wrote the poem, when all about you are losing their heads and blaming it on you, but you're not, then you're a man, my son. And I think he didn't quite do that right, but still, you got the basic idea. The ability to recognize what is inside of you carries with it, once you can go deep enough inside you, an ability to penetrate into the deeper layers within yourself. Now, you can live on the surface of your life, the surface of your body, and the surface of your life, your entire life. Everybody are familiar with the people who used to be called in the old days fops. They always had, they had money, and they always had, their coiffure there was, and if their shirt was out even a micro inch, and they more or less were judged by other people that meant that they were rich, that meant they were powerful. But more than that, a lot of them started believing it. They started believing that just because their tie was tied a certain way, or their shirt was a certain way, or they had the correct creases in their clothes a certain way, that they were going to be happy people, that their insides were going to be wonderful, until things happened in their life and they had real pressures. And then they found out that all the outer stuff really didn't matter that much. Well, you have the same thing, except it's the surface of your body. And when your mind starts having the ability to start really going inside your body, well, one thing is that without you having really tried to do it, you're actually going to start recognizing how blood flows in your body. And the one thing about human beings is that when they get into their 10,000 moods, greed, happiness, satisfaction, dissatisfaction, whatever, that their blood inside their body, the Taoists have found, moves differently. It has a quality, it just moves differently. And as you can start affecting and recognizing the blood flows deeper and deeper inside your body, it just seems to naturally take a person deeper and deeper inside their mind. So when you can recognize blood at a certain depth of your body, all of a sudden your emotions, instead of just being things that you react to from some external stimulus, you actually start seeing what's inside your blood and blood vessels that's causing you to be more sensitive to what's outside. And that it's actually as much your blood changing as what you happen to be thinking that's driving yourself crazy. Now, we're at a moment with the coronavirus that is, in one sense, kind of funny. I just heard something tonight which I thought was hilarious. And it's that in a town in California where I lived for a long time, my son's there at the moment, and at 9 o'clock every night, people come outside their houses and they start howling like wolves or dogs. And the reason why they're doing that, I mean, I don't know if they have a stated reason. My son didn't know what it was. He just could hear it. Is that they're trying to blow off some of the steam of being kept inside their houses all day long, because, you know, maybe the people they're with are, you know, there's a lot of pressure building up. Okay? And so they're howling to release this pressure. Now, it's a funny thing when a whole town is doing this. But they do, and I would have to say it was a sign of their intelligence that they realized that they needed to release some of this pent-up pressure that's inside them. Well, in meditation, as you start now, if you start going deeper inside your mind, deeper inside your body, you're going to recognize where this pressure lives. If you increase the internal pressure inside someone's body, you can watch them start going through mood shifts. You can watch certain types of emotions come up quite easily. And it's not being caused because of a mental thing. It's literally being caused, their body's causing it. And then once their body gets the ball rolling, then the deeper things inside their mind jump on the bandwagon and the whole thing kind of escalates. Now you can watch this. If you've ever seen someone who is going through the stages of depression, you can watch from being like this. You can watch everything start literally crumbling inside them. And that's happening inside their body. So what we're going to look at now is that, well, what's going on inside your body? Really, what is? And then feeling what is happening inside your physicality is most likely going to make it easier for you to start realizing what emotions are really happening below the surface inside you. And that those emotions which are below the surface, when they come up, they make you have very strong emotional reactions, but that's like a reflex, like someone hitting your knee and your foot goes up. That's not actually what's inside you that's allowing the external pressures to get your internal pressures to manifest. Now, we have a major problem in America, and I hope what I'm going to say now doesn't shock some of you. Some people, when reality is stated, it freaks them out, because they just always want everything to be nice and really great and whatever and whatever. But there is a lot of physical abuse within households in America. We have shelters for when, you know, men are beating up women, and it's actually getting even more common now that women are beating up men. You know, real alpha women will, at times, you know, throw a beating on a beta male. It happens all the time. It's not talked about. It's one of those kind of like dirty little secrets. But, and there's no two ways about the fact that when parents get too much pressure, you know, kids misbehave. I'm sorry, they've always been doing it. Parents will start whacking them. And then you start looking at the way that people who had parents who were whacking them when they were younger, either verbally or physically, they often can grow up with, like, you know, severe mental pathologies. Now, in this moment in time when people are being, you know, socially undistanced, and they're being next to each other and they can't get away from each other, a lot of the pressures that are inside people are going to build up. And I hope that this helps some people who might be prone toward wanting to beat the people in their houses, as well as the people who in their houses are afraid of it being done to them, to be able to release what's inside them. So let's just put it this way. You mitigate the damages. Things don't get as bad as they could be. So we go back to what we did the last time, and we start just putting our attention on the very top of the head. And now, start letting your mind sink and let it at least penetrate to the bottom of your skin. And when you find it difficult, let your breathing get softer. And just let your breathing, let your breath just kind of exhale so it softens the area so your mind can go through it with less resistance. So what's on the surface of your eyeball? Well, it's just below the skin on your forehead, on the back of your neck, on the side of your head. How can you let your mind start penetrating inside your ear till you actually get to the opening of the ear and you get past the earlobe? And let your mind go and recognize what's there. See, very often the fear of what something is going to be is nowhere near as bad as the reality that's going to happen. Remember that fear has a useful and a poisonous part. The useful part is it just lets you know there's danger and you do something to get away from it. You know, the classic example is if you're a caveman, you know, and a big tiger comes to the head of the cave, it's a good thing you get afraid so that you run to the other end of the cave and get out so the tiger doesn't get you. But then you also have where fear becomes very destructive and brings on anxiety. Not because there's anything there, but as Franklin Delano Roosevelt's famous phrase went during the Depression, we have nothing to fear but fear itself. Because the fear of the fear can have just as strong an effect as the thing itself. But if you can just go below your skin, you start noticing that fear, if you keep on watching it, is just a series of sensations. And it's only because you're putting some big meaning on these sensations that you freak out. Whereas if you just watched and went, wow, okay, those are sensations. Because, you know, unless your grandmother is dying of coronavirus in the spare bedroom and you're watching her dying, you don't have a reason to be that fearful. If we went back a week or two before and all she had was a mild fever. But you could have, oh, she has a mild fever and that's going to be coming, that's going to be coming, that's going to be coming at. Well, and yet with this virus, as in so many other things in life, many of the things that cause fear and freak us out, they never quite get anywhere near as bad as our fear was making an image in our head they were going to be. But if you just can recognize the sensation and just look at it, watch it, feel it. Don't have any idea it should or should not be there. We all will get millions of different kinds of sensations in our life. We don't have to make the jump that sensation means something is going to happen. And sometimes it will, most of the times it won't. So just let your mind keep on going into these sensations, going down to your eyes, and then to your throat, then to your face, the front of you, the side of your head, the back of your head, and keep on going down the bottom of your neck. Now, so far, what you've been penetrating is relatively hard. What's below your skin is a skull, and that's hard. You know, your jaw's hard, your nose is, well, it's hardish. You know, the place in your head are hard. Even your windpipe, which is not that hard, it's sure a lot harder than your skin is. So far we've been initially encountering things that are hard. But now as you keep on going down, and once you hit the neck and the side of the neck and going down, you're not just going to be hitting things that are hard, you're going to be hitting things that are soft. And it's actually easier to feel things that are hard than it is to feel soft tissues. So now letting your mind penetrate your body, how do you do that? I don't know. Really and truly. How when you look at something, do you let it penetrate you so you feel it, you smell it, you just kind of know what it is? It quote unquote penetrates enough till it makes impact. How do you do that? Everybody has their own way. Could I mention 10 or 20 or 30 ways you could do it because they fit most humans? Sure. But it doesn't help you. What helps you is, what is it inside you that's letting your mind penetrate your body? And that's what you're looking for. And as you go down, we get to the throat, and do the area in the front of the throat and the upper back. You know, in your upper back, you'll feel your spine, but you'll feel the muscles around the shoulder blades, and you'll feel all the soft stuff that's around the back of your lungs, and you'll feel, even then, you'll feel the chest is a lot softer than your head. At least one hopes. So what is it? How do you just let your mind penetrate your body? And when you notice, when you just recognize that your mind wants to start shooting up to the top of your head, just slow your breath, relax your body, and just let that penetration downward continue. And now as you go down farther to the bottom of your throat, you'll be at the side of your shoulders and the kind of the top of your spine, bottom of your spine, excuse me. Let your mind just penetrate inside and start to just feel whatever it is you feel. Forget about anything you've read in a book or any anatomy or anything like this, which would be okay if you wanted to adjust that anatomy. But for this, we're talking about the way that your mind is going to inhabit your body. Now, a simple example is that because of something going on in the mind, it's very well known for giving children stomach aches. But I'm sorry, you know, your head and your stomach are really not that near each other. But your body has a whole system of interconnecting this and that, which connects your body into one whole. If nothing else, your blood does that. So you're going down, and you're going further down towards your chest, down towards your breast. What do you feel? Now, what you're doing now in a few sessions downstream is going to enable you to resolve and get rid of these things that are in your body that are making you feel all these various emotions and mental states. But you have to be able to recognize that they're happening inside your body for the Taoist body-based meditations to really do what they can do. Because this is Taoist meditation, which is not based upon just making pictures in your mind and then changing those pictures in your mind. which is a fine method. It's just that that's not what Taoists do. They come from the point of view of making sure that this body you have is at peace with the earth and your fellow human beings before they start caring about the pictures your head is generating. And your head does generate all kinds of pictures and all kinds of sounds. It does. But the body is something that's a very relatively easy access point because we live on the earth. And gravity enables us to feel our bodies. So you keep on going down your chest. And you see what you feel, you know. Now, I'm quite sure that if you do this 1,000 times, and every time you have someone you're doing it with, and then they say, what did you feel? I'm willing to bet you're going to get a couple of hundred different feelings. You won't get 1,000 different feelings, but you'll get a couple hundred. Because many will repeat because they're actually being generated from similar causes. So there's a lot you could feel inside. And there's no reason to be afraid of it. It just means you're a human being and you have a body. And your body produces these feelings. And now, continue down to your heart. Now, a funny, interesting thing about the human heart. There are groups that research this type of stuff. And one of the things they found out is that the heart actually produces more electrical activity than your brain. Now, we all think, you know, all of our thinking and our feelings comes from our brain, but turns out this stuff in the heart also can generate an immense amount of feelings and thoughts. And as a matter of fact, in many of the major schools of Eastern meditation, the really big ones, they think the heart is the center of human consciousness. In the West, we tend to think it's the head. But now just keep penetrating. If you can go a little bit deeper below your skin than you are now, that's great. Every time, just try and go a little bit deeper inside your body. I don't say how much. That's between you and your body. And then go down at least to the heart. And as you just watch, observe, recognize, not watch in the sense of making pictures in your head, but just feel what's there. What are these sensations? You may easily find if you had a lot of anxiety or a lot of various things that the mind can plague you with, you may find all of a sudden, because you're not giving them all this energy, that they just start fading away. Or they have less of an ability to control you. Now, some things you find will leave very easily, and some things which somehow got a real purchase on your body and mind, it may take longer, because they're in deep. And, you know, it's a good thing for most people to realize that the only thing that happens when you run away from what frightens you is you just get more frightened of it. You know, I'm not saying you have to run into it, but you have to just stand there, just watch it. And you very often will find out that it just weakens or goes away. Now, we're going to finish, and what you want to do first is that just relax the inside of your head and let your eyes just gently open so you get no sense of shock looking outside. Like if you were in a movie theater, a dark movie theater, if you walked out on a sunny day, 2 fists, you'd get a shock. So just let your eyes very easily open until you're comfortable. Then take your hands, rub them, and go like this and take the energy that's stuck in your head and get it to go back inside your body. And that's a good way to finish your meditation. And then, thank you very much. Till next time. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you found this helpful. If you like this, go ahead and click subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.